When we first had our first conversation about, why could this be for me, I was very aware, like I have gone through cycles of burnout previously, and I could feel myself on the verge of that again, with this being the year of COVID and extra pressures. Like I was so conscious of not reaching this stage again, and again I was close to being in burnout. So it's that thing of, you just know that this is what you need to pull you back a bit, and I just needed that extra help not to get to that stage, and it just came at the right time for me. Just some of the way that we've tackled some scenarios together, just given different ways of working through, and they're not problems, they're just life, aren't they? They're just scenarios that you come up against in life where you need to make a decision, or you need to decide which way you want your goals to head, and it's just different tools used to deal with that. And then it's also about how to work with your team, with those around you, and there's some really good tips and things that I've picked up through this to deal with that, and how to, it's sort of passing it on. And I think we were discussing it in one of our group sessions, that everyone feels the same. Your managers have some of the same worries that you'd have. People below you have the same worries. Everyone's trying to be good at, well, most people are trying to be good at their job and want to progress and want to do well. And it's just about bringing that to the forefront, that everyone's in that same situation, and it stops you being so me-centric and just pulls you out of that and makes you look at everyone else and then deal with things in a different way because of that. It's always like, I know I was one of the skeptics when I joined, of like, is this for me? You only hear of executives and really senior leaders getting coaching. I've got to where I have on my own with peer support and great mentors and sponsors. Like, is this going to add anything new? And I think the main thing that it does, your coach isn't your fairy godmother. They're not going to come in and be like, do this, do that, we'll sort it, it's done. It's more that, if you're a Disney fan, your coach will give you the wand to then cast the spell yourselves, like giving you the tools. It's all about tools and things you can put in place, or what works for you, and it's quite individual. It's not about one size fits all, and it's about that inner strength is inside you already, that inner solution. Like for someone that's a fact and plan and action based person, that solution is inside you. But sometimes it's just giving you that bit of courage to firm up in your head, no, this is the solution for me, this is how I want to lead my life, this is how I want to progress. It's not anything, I don't want to say it's not anything radical, but when you're in it and you're feeling it, it feels so radical. Whereas when you say it, you're like, well, that makes sense. You know what you want. It's already in you. But when you actually then go through it, it's like this weird realization that, oh, I did have the solution in me. Like, this isn't anything new, but it's just a way of helping you process your thoughts. Like, I'm an overthinker, I'm a spiraler. I'll just keep thinking it and thinking, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? And it just stops that, because with your coach, you work through whatever it is you want to work through, personal, professional, and you work through it, and then you come to an end point, you go, you reflect on it, and that's it, it's done. It stops. For me, it stops that spiraling and overthinking and, well, what if I'd done this, what if I'd done that? You do it in a structured way with your coach, so that when you get to that solution, you're 100% sure that that's the solution I want to take. You may then in hindsight reflect back and think, oh, well, maybe I would have done this, but that's all about the learning. At that point, you're 100% sure that, right, this is the next step. And it's not always like solving a huge problem. It's sometimes just taking the next step, or getting rid of that uncertainty and change. You just know what your next point is. think it's the one thing that we'd spoken about at the beginning, and what I wanted to get from this was just to build some confidence back in myself and my ability. I know, like, a lot of people, probably even when they're watching this video, are probably like, she's so self-assured, she's so confident, like how can she be feeling that? But it sometimes depends on your personality, that it's very easy to put out. For some people, it's very easy to put out a assured, stable, confident front, because that's what you've done your whole life. But it was so great to meet like a group of ladies that have been so successful in their individual careers, and we were all from like a varied group of industries. Yeah, all of us did have that bit of like, needed that bit of cheerleading in our lives. And you hear when we were speaking to each other that you're like, how do you feel like that? You can tell that you're really good at what you do, and you can tell by the things that you say you're a really good manager. And then people would sort of flip it and be like, well, why are you any different? So it's sort of interesting to see that, as confident and as outgoing as we were as a group, we all still did that same thing of like forgetting that we're all probably the same, and that internally we do have that bit of unsureness about us. So from this, I've really got just really building that back up in myself, that resilience, and just remembering, I think, talking about what we do and our work, and just really remembering why I love what I do, and just really reflecting on what's been a hard couple of months for everyone, is just taking that moment to be like, I'm so lucky I'm still able to do what I do and love what I do, and yeah, and just get that bit of spark back again. Do with the whole change thing, and it was for managers. Like, sometimes when you have masterminds, it's specifically towards self-employed people, or you think of executives, or that you must be at a certain level in your career. And I think that as much as the world is changing, there are still some things that women tend to do different than men, and different things, whether that's because of biology, how society is. And so it being woman-centric really appeals to me as well. Such a mix of people, and the only thing really is that ability to, that want to learn, and that want to change and develop and progress yourself. So I think even if you're really early on in your career, or really developed in your career, as long as you have that passion to want to change or want to improve, this is suited to you. Because even there were some things that I would have heard of before, such as imposter syndrome, and I touched on psychologically safe environments before. But it's that thing of developing it further, hearing it a different way, learning different people's views on it. So you're never going to have something where it's completely new to you always, or it might be completely new to you. But I think the point is that if it isn't, there's still something to learn and a different way to see it, because everyone has different takes on these ideas. So even if you know the topic that we're talking about, or you think you know it, hearing other people's different experiences of it always brings something new and a different learning point. Someone who in the peer-to-peer session can tell you something that your friends or family have been telling you for years, but it can be sometimes that if they're not in the same mindset as you, or they're not in the same space, then you always are a bit wary of like, are they saying it just because they love me and they want me to be happy and be less stressed? Or you always take it with a bit of like a pinch of salt, like, are they just saying it because they want me to, because they love me, or is it the right thing? Whereas I think when you've had people that are as driven as you, as passionate as you, giving that feedback it's more that they've been there or they've been in similar situations. And sometimes it's that even when you're sharing your experiences, that you may not have dealt with it in the way that you wanted to, but you can say to other people, trust me, I've been in that situation, I wish I'd listened. And it's very different from coming from someone who you think really understands what you're going through, your fears, your things that you hold yourself back with. And I think it's just very different from coming from someone who you believe really understands you, is in the type of person you are when it comes to how you want to develop, rather than how you are as an individual on a personal level. I think it's just meeting like-minded people. Like, I've been part of peer groups all the way through my career, and I've, due to COVID, due to moving around, I haven't been part of a peer group in a while. And so it was just reconnecting on that level, and just knowing that I think you put up the TED talk the other day, that we put this emphasis on ourselves that we're not leaders or managers until we get to a certain point in our career. And I know I was a bit imposter syndrome-y with you, in that, you know, is this right for me? Am I too early in my career? And, you know, you don't want to be seen as being big-headed or thinking like, am I going above my station by joining in something like this? But it's just about to make you better at your job, better in life in general, and personal development. Like, it isn't, we haven't worked on just things that you'd use in your career. It's skills for your everyday life as well. And I think that's what's really helped. I'm just a lot more less fearful. Like, I've always been someone that's so conscious of other people at times that then I overcompensate, or, you know, it doesn't have to be the team or me, I'm part of the team. And I think it's helped me do that, in that sometimes I just overwork myself and, you know, over worry about everyone else. That it's that whole thing of putting your own oxygen mask on first, isn't it? Is making sure that if you're doing well and you have the right tools, then your team will see that, and they'll see, like, I'm a very positive person, and I know that I'm one of the people that when I'm in a team, I know that if I'm feeling stress, or if I'm showing that stress or showing that pressure, I know it affects the team because I'm always so positive. So then when they see you feeling that stress or feeling that pressure, you know it affects them. And sometimes it's good to show that, you know, we're under pressure, but dealing with it in a healthy way. And it's just given me more tools to cope with that and deal with that in a better fashion. Because also sometimes what people can do, and I know we spoke about this in the group, is we can try to be so overachieving and so harsh on ourselves that then, regardless of whether you want to, that falls down to your team. Like, they then sometimes feel inadequate or pressured because of the expectations of you have on yourself, that your team sometimes then think, oh, is that what she expects of me? And often it isn't, because and it's not stuff that our managers expect of us, it's what we put on ourselves. And I think that was so interesting to see in the group sessions, how a lot of people feel that, like, that we put that extra pressure on ourselves, rather, and the effect that has on both the people that we're managing and leading, and also our own managers.
I've got a quick round of fire questions. So just
Okay.
quick fire. You just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Yeah. Worried what's going to come out.
Being part of this mastermind has meant?
The world.
I would describe my experience as?
Powerful.
The biggest change I've made has been?
In myself.
The 3 words I would use to describe this mastermind would be?
Supportive, fun, and expanding.
Ooh, like it. The thing I learned about myself was?
Is that I have it within me.
The thing I learned about others?
We all have the same fears.